What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome to week 14 on my road to 2,100 pounds, and of course the continuations on my road to 700 pounds on bench press. So today is actually the first day of the week for week 14. I head to the gym, and I've got some 515 bench press. Nothing too crazy, but we're working back up, getting some volume built up. But today is Father's Day. I normally don't work out on Sundays. I typically reserve weekends for my family and the kids. So we went to church this morning, and moving on this afternoon, I'm going to get a kind of an abbreviated chest workout in. The wife and I are actually going to be in New Orleans for a PTA national convention coming up. We're actually leaving a little bit early this week, so I'm not going to be able to do my normal split, which is Monday, Tuesday, take Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday. I'm actually getting 100% of the week in 3 days this week. Last week was 4 days, back to back to back, which is not my ideal split, but when done right, you know, in short term, at least for me, I can go ahead and do that. The key to doing basically my abbreviated workouts and doing 3 days back to back and getting in my squats, deadlifts, and bench all heavy within those 3 days is actually getting plenty of rest and plenty of food in me during the next, during the days leading up to this, and also leading going into each individual day, making sure that I'm getting probably about 9 hours of sleep a night. That works very well for me. I know a lot of you guys have trouble finding time to sleep. You really just got to make it a priority. I understand a lot of guys work, a lot of guys, they do very odd jobs, and definitely military, things like that, where it's not always the case. So I'm not saying that it's for everybody, that everybody can do it, but there's definitely a lot of people that can make time that don't. But be smart in your own training. Obviously some guys need a little more rest than others. I've always favored getting a lot of rest and going into my workout fully recovered. So as you guys can see, obviously with last week's week 13, it wasn't too heavy, so it's not like I needed the recovery, but it's definitely smarter to have it if you can. But we're in sort of a pseudo volume training right now, where we're doing reps of 5, but for me, being in about 4 weeks out from meet prep, it's critical for me to get 8 hours of sleep every single night and then be able to work out the next day, because the weight that I'm handling, it's more for just making sure that I'm building that base up leading into the next 6 weeks or so, before we start going to the doubles and singles, where we're definitely up with heavy weight. Yeah, it's raining. Heading to the gym, heading over to Dynamic Fitness, the brand new gym that, it's an old gym, but it's a gym that I've been going to for the last couple of weeks that I really like. They're definitely sponsoring me and helping me out, so I definitely appreciate that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into day 1 of this week. Alright, so first we have 515 on the bar here. This is going to be 2 sets of 5 reps. Once again, all reps paused. We are in meet prep. I typically keep all reps paused throughout the training season. 99% of the time I get, basically I can push a lot more weight when it's paused. Touch and go, I actually tend to get pretty loose. It's hard to stay tight, especially with multiple reps. So let's see how this looks. So 15 pounds more than last week, and bar is moving pretty well. And once again, I want to thank Texas Power Bars for sending me a new set of bars to train with. I've got the Power Bar here, and you'll see later in the recap, I have the Texas Squat Bar, 55-pound squat bar, which is perfect for what I need to train with. And then you guys ask what I sniff. That is Skull Smash Ammonia. You can get it at skull-smash.com. I'll put my promo code in the description. It's strict-bench-10. get 10% off. Steve over there at Skull Smash is a great guy, veteran as well. Support his company, and he definitely helps me out, so I want to make sure that I send a shout out to him. Good people. So this is second set, got a slightly different angle. Good bar speed here, no concerns whatsoever. I got a little bit out of balance there, but nothing major. That's rep number 4. And I just didn't have it in me to get that 5th rep. Strength wasn't an issue. Honestly, I think just looking back on it, it was just a lactic acid buildup, and I just didn't have that rep, that particular set. No big deal. You'll see next week, actually not next week, the following week. This is I've got about 540 that's coming, and this recap is actually done in a little bit future sight. I didn't have time to do the recap, and so I actually just finished the 540 set today, 3x3, and it went just fine. So I don't worry about misreps like this typically in training. This is Spoto presses, 440s on the bar, 3 sets at 3. These are really great for maintaining that tightness and not getting that bottom half of the rep. Really does not allow you to get a solid stretch reflex. It actually makes it a lot harder. So moving on to the monastery extensions. I've got 160 pounds here, 3 sets. First and second set are 15 reps, and the last set is a max effort set, so I went 16 reps on that. These are meant to be fairly strict, really working on contraction of the muscle, mind-muscle connection, really working on that tricep. These blow up triceps big time. If you have trouble doing weighted dips or any other type of tricep exercise that maybe hurt your elbows, this one is a solid one to use as an alternative. This will definitely target those triceps and only the triceps. You might have a little bit of trouble finding some balance, so just make sure you're able to put your feet up against something and put your elbows down on the bench, and that gives you the leverage that you need to stay balanced. Moving on, I've got the chest supported plate loaded row, and this is 200 pounds. This is 4 sets of 8. This is a great pulling movement to counteract the pressing of the bench. It keeps everything in balance. Moving on here, the one-armed high pulley cable curls. I've got 70 pounds on here. A set of 10, a set of 8, and a set of 6, so 3 sets total. By the time I'm doing these, this is closer to the end of the workout, pretty long workouts typically on bench day anyways. I'm actually pretty fried. The biceps are not hurting, but just overall energy levels are low, so it doesn't take a lot of weight to get this moving. And this is completely an accessory. Didn't have anybody walk underneath it this week. Moving on here to the pec deck. I've got 160 pounds on the bar, 3 sets of 15. This is fairly light. My rear delt and tricep insertion point is giving me a little bit of pain. Not serious, but definitely noticeable. So I'm feeling that actually a lot more than the pecs on this particular exercise due to just the tricep work that we've been doing, but nothing at ice, and a little bit of rest won't help. So moving on, day 2, this is actually the very next day. My bench day this week, day 1, was done on a Sunday. This is actually on a Monday. And got 545 on the bar, 3 sets at 3. Really working on not going past parallel too much. Really just want competition depth and no deeper. Really working on keeping tight in order to not go too far down. This first set from this angle looked a little bit high, so you'll notice I changed angles on the second set just to make sure that I am seeing for myself that I am hitting depth for sure, and not cheating myself, obviously. This Texas squat bar is very, very nice, thick squat bar, 55 pound, can handle a lot of weight, and it doesn't flex at all, at least not in a bad way, and really is great for my training here.
used to training on some skinny bars this far out from a meet, and this is really nice to be training on the actual squat bar, 10 weeks out. So I'm actually feel pretty good on squats today. I normally don't want to do heavy squats after my my heavy bench day. I typically like to take a day of rest, but like I said earlier, I'm going to be out of town later this week, actually leaving town on Wednesday, so I am not going to be able to get my normal split in. And normally I would just train when I'm out of town. My schedule with meetings and training that I'm going to be doing over the weekend and later this week just really doesn't allow me to get much in terms of training. So versus not training at all, I've opted to go ahead and try to squeeze in a smart way my training for my normal 4-day split, which is spread among 5 days. I typically don't want to do it the way that I'm doing it this week, but occasionally if I need to, I will, which is to do like a 3-day split among 2 days. I actually, you'll see, this is actually the last training day of week 14. After the deadlifts on this particular day, I was pretty fried and opted to go ahead and just end it for the week. It's not for my shoulders, not to get their work in. I actually did my bench the first day. I just didn't feel like I had enough rest to get another training day in for what I was needing to work in. It's not detrimental in my training to skip that. So after this particular week, I did take about 6 days off completely from the gym, which is basically a deload, and we treated it as such. So the following week, which is actually when I'm doing this voiceover, ironically, come right back and I actually feel pretty good in the gym, and you'll see that recap later this week. Bench day's already taken care of, but so these are just some different angles. There's only 3 sets of 3 on this squat, but I wanted to go back and forth between the different angles just to watch the depth. So, back to kind of what I always preach, definitely go off of feel in your training more than numbers. That's always kept me healthy, injury-free, and I'm going to continue to do that because I'm not slowing down, and I'm definitely not having major injuries. So my method at least works for me. So I've got some deficit deadlifts here, and this is 605. The day calls for 4 sets of 1. I didn't like how that felt, so I let that go a little bit. I'm actually not on a deadlift bar here. I'm on the bar for the gym. I wasn't real happy with that rep. So going for another one here. I was expecting 605 to feel a lot faster, or a lot lighter, and be a lot faster than that. So there's frustration going on in the gym. Of course, I am. Thinking back on it, I'm fatigued going straight into deadlifts after heavy squats. My energy is pretty sapped, so this is taking whatever residual I have left over. I did tear a callus on the right hand on that last rep, so versus fighting through a torn callus, I went ahead and just strapped up. I don't have grip issues, but I definitely don't want to develop them. So to get the work done for this day, I knew what I was up against. It's not a typical day. Where I just cut the callus off, maybe give myself a few minutes rest and shave it off and go for a rep. I just went ahead and strapped up just to go ahead and finish out the day. I've got 2 more reps at 605. Definitely would enjoy those being a lot faster. But like I said, doing squats right before this, the energy is not very high. So I will take it and chalk that up as a decent deadlift day. Moving on here, I've got some double overhand holds. This is 430 pounds, 2 sets here, just for like 15 seconds. This is working on my grip. So the grip hasn't had no issues here, with no straps or anything. like I said, it didn't matter that I strapped up for the last couple sets of deadlifts because I'm working on my grip here. So everything definitely has a place in training. Got some hip abductions here, and this stack only goes to 205 pounds, so I've added a green band, which probably adds about 20 to 30 pounds, maybe a little more tension, and got 2 sets of 20, extremely easy. These are not meant to be a max effort set by any means, but at the other gym I was able to get about 270, so I wanted to get somewhat close to that weight because that's what I've been training with to keep those hip abductors pretty strong, just stabilizers, helps with squats, deadlifts, and anything leg related. Set to those. And last but not least is a modified GHR. The set calls for a GHR, this gym doesn't have one, so I went ahead and used this and actually bumped up the weight a little bit to 25 just to get this in. Definitely hits the hamstring, so that's all that I'm concerned about. But that is just about a wrap for this week, week 14. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. We surpassed the 5,100 mark. Please like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram @SwimHack. See you next week.